Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Giant Size Thor Issue 1 2024. Ooh, we get Thor, we get Hercules. So, this does tie into a little bit, pretty much just giving us an understanding of what kind of favor that was going on between Thor and Hercules in the main series, and it works because Ewing is writing this as well. Now granted, this is $6.99. However, you pretty much get two comics in this. You get the main one, which is like the Thor issue that we've got here, and then we've got Thor issue 356, The Power and the Pride. And I think it actually worked pretty well. Now granted, the older one, you have to be in the kind of mindset of what kind of goes on for it, but the main one was definitely pretty interesting, so let's kind of get into this. And would you know more? Every tale began at the same beginning, deep in primal time. All stories are part of the whole, and we can only ever join in the middle, in medias res. Behold the middle of a story, the last Ragnarok, when Thor tried to build an ending, through power and through will. You cannot walk the path already taken. See Thor issue 1999-83. The thing is, I got these issues, and that was this was a gnarly kind of one. And through sacrifice, you know what you must do. All stories are part of the whole. On this future rests. Would you know more? As we see that Thor had already taken out one of his eyes, but that is a sacrifice that Odin had already done. So Thor then decides to take out another eye. More will be told. Please, drink anyone? No? Please save us, as you did once before. Mr. President, as we see this group of aliens having to deal with something kind of going nutty. General Gloon, at last. How goes the evacuation? Most of the population are sealed away, sir. That's the good news. What's up with the chief of staff? Oak Grove's lost it, I'm afraid. He's been babbling prayers to that Earth deity, what was his name? The one who helped during the Great Galactus Scare. We may find ourselves wishing for that kind of help again, sir. Because the bad news is that barring a miracle, our world is doomed. It's like, shit, what the fuck's kind of going on here? Surely our defense can withstand this attack. Our shield grid is barely holding up, sir. The electric barrage is so fierce that the structural integrity of the planet itself is threatened. And the atmospheric disturbances have scrambled all subspace frequencies. By the time our galactic allies hear of our plight, Seagram 7 will be so much space rubble. Under the circumstances, a prayer might be all the hope we have. Please, O God of heroes, son of the Sky Father, hero of the tales, Hercules, please return to us to save our world. It's like, what's going on here? And I kind of like the different kind of ways of how the paneling works out and how it's kind of like bringing certain things to the forefront, like that dude kneeling down and praying. From the giant-sized Thor. And I gotta give props. This could have just been like, what the fuck, I paid $6.99 for this, but I'm like, okay, you did a giant-sized Thor, and you did a giant-sized Thor. And it actually makes sense. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? And that is just really good artwork. It's like, what the fuck's going on? And I love that they were able to do the same kind of style from the older school Thor issue. It's hard to do. So let's see what's going on here. Commander, scans have located and pinpoint the Seagram seat of Singrimian seat of government. In other words, the most powerful bugs under the swatter. But if you're waiting for permission, Weaponsmith, you have it. Bring the hammer down. As we then see them pretty much using this giant mech Thor thing to pretty much try and waylace to this planet and kill them all. It's like, no. Let me see, Krakoom, boom. And I really like the coloring and use of the different kind of words there. Like, it's a visual medium. Have fun with that shit. Another hit like that, we're done for. What was that deity's name again? Impressive. We'll have to loot that shield technology once this planet crumbles to dust. And I kind of like how we zoomed in, and then we kind of like zoomed in even further before zooming out. Engineer, how's our power source looking? Are we good for a second try? No problems there, sir. It's like, what the fuck is powering this? And then we see they somehow have captured Thor and are using him to power this thing. It's like, what the fuck? And that is insane. Seeing him all hooked up and just all fucked up. It's like, no. The captive has energy to spare. Behold, the middle of a story. Would you know more? How was Thor captured? He was lured with a false distress signal from Wriggle, then trapped within a stasis field before he suspected the truth. Thank you. I don't mind coming into a story and then you giving an explanation like that. That works for me. How could Thor be held? By first caging his mind, trapping him in a maze of his own memories. Yeah, that would work. Specifically, memories of when he had tamed and used the All-Power, for that was the goal, to tap the power, channel it into a vast effigy, and then conquer. How could Thor escape? Very good question. Behold, the middle of another story. Hercules, god of jerks more like it. What the flark did you steal the Somerville for? I had plans for that. Me and Pete were gonna hit the bars. Wait, is this a Greek god thing? You ain't going psycho like your pops did, right? Yes and no, Rocket, in that order. I'm still the Hercules you know, but this is a god thing. I'm answering a prayer. You're what? And I'm like, I need to know more about Hercules and Rocket's relationship. And I'm like, I love it. Rocket and Pete were evidently going to go on bars and stuff. That's kind of nuts. And Hercules is like, no, I'm not going crazy. You're what? I'm the god of heroes, so someone needs a hero, someone larger than life and fresh from the fight. Listen. Yes, thank you. I need a hero. Yes, I love it. So that is a good little reference there. And if they pray to me specifically, which I'll admit is rare these days, I hear the call, and I have the duty to answer, even if that threat be. And I like it. I like people should call on Hercules. A gigantic robotic Thor. It's like, even he's like, I don't know what to do here. Craft approaching, sir. A small diplomatic shuttle. Galactic Council issue. Diplomats. We must be diplomatic then. When you blow this fool out of the sky, be sure to apologize. And we then see as they're utilizing the lightning. Shields holding. Shields what? What's going on, Hurt? Nothing. And I kind of love the look there of her just like trying to bear it all. The ship's resisting the blast, sir. Ridiculous. We're tapping the all-power itself. Surely that could break through a simple shield. That's what we said about the buildings. Sir, if the captive still has subconscious control over his all-power, that would explain nonsense, increase the power. It's like, you dumb bastard. Drain the Thunder God dry. As we see him being drained even further. It's like, Thor, no. Hercules, was that an engine? What the fuck are you doing? Honestly, praying. And, lost in his maze of memories, as Hercules loses an engine, we then shift back. The Thunder God prayed as well. Must I pluck out my eye, as Odin did? One eye is nothing. Odin has already made that sacrifice. You cannot walk the path already taken. You know what you must do. As we see we see Thor ripping and pulling his way out of what's kind of going on in that system. Sir, disruption in the virtual memory program. He's reacting somehow, damaging his restraints. What? Stasis troops to the holding chamber now. If the Thunder God breaks free, I must take the path not yet taken, as it pretty much echoes him, ripping his eyes out and ripping the helmet off, which is still connected in his eyes. Behold the middle of the story, and remember, all stories are part of the whole. And it's completely nutty. That is just really kind of gruesome. So if you are not into that kind of stuff, this may not be for you. He tore the visor out of his brain. Used the stasis rifles. We could still take him by surprise, as that is when Hercules pops up, blasting the shuttle in. Ha! Olympus fell, but it seems, Tai Chi, the goddess of luck and opportunity, heard my prayer. For what an opportunity we have here. Stay back. Not for you, obviously. As we then see him, like, surprised, like, what? And then we see Thor beating ass. It's like, ah, shit! Hercules, you giant... Sorry, Rocket, speak soon. Hercules, is that you? Thor, your eyes. Tore out as they once were. Then 'twas ritual, a sacrifice for greater knowledge. But now the knowledge is mine, and such minor injuries are nothing the All-Power cannot heal. As we see him heal himself with the All-Power. It's like, nice, because this is a different story. And he's also healed from his other wounds inflicted by being held there. And with new eyes I spy new foes. There they are, stasis rifles ready. One good hit and they'll be frozen in time. We have weapons of our own, rogue. Mjolnir to me. Ha! Your cursed hammer has its own stasis field on the lower levels, Thunder God, and nothing will move it from... And I love the layout of the paneling here. We see at first the top, the normal kind of stuff, and then we see his hand. Oh, Fire quickly! As we then see how Mjolnir pops up into his hand and then just see Thor kind of just cracking out of the page with the hammer. Fire quickly, but not quickly enough. To defeat Thor or Hercules alone, no tricks, no traps, would take 100 such. The two together, 1,000. And of course they had 1,000. More men. And even gods must fall eventually. They're still coming, Thor, and their aim's getting better. 'Tis I they want, Hercules. You do not have to remain. You wound me, Thor. The Lion of Olympus never deserts a friend. As the All-Father never forgets such friendship. I will repay this, my friend, with all the power at my... As we see them bashing and blasting through. I know that, 'tis the sound of an idea brewing under that blonde mane. You know me too well. Can you hold the tide a moment, Hercules, with ease? Now's our chance. It's 10 against 1, indeed, a lot of the gift of battle to go around, as we see Hercules cracking his knuckles. Shit. But each shall get their rightful share, as he pretty much beats Adam with one punch. All of this, my capture and imprisonment in this techno-cradle was for my power. They built this whole battleship in my shape to better attune the all-power to it, and nearly succeeded. Yet even in the illusion, I still had a measure of control. How much, then, do I have outside it? Little lightnings and little wires and little circuits, built to carry my power. Carry it now. Commander, what? Curse you, what is it now? As we see him utilizing his power very effectively to take control. I've lost control of the ship, so you are the one who would use my father's power to conquer worlds. Did you not think it could conquer a single vessel? A vessel built to channel the all-power like blood in its veins? Get more troops down there. Now, somebody! Get him back into stasis. Your men can no longer hear your orders. My friend made a fine door, so I shall leave now. But first, I will settle what is owed. You called on the all-power, Commander. No, but none may call on such power without paying the traditional price, the giving of an eye. For there must always be a sacrifice, but be warned, if you would know more, for even now we are only in the middle. All stories are part of the whole. This one was a warning. When one eye was nothing, Thor gave two, but now, in time to come, when a new sacrifice was needed, what would Thor give then? Ooh, really kind of cool. As we see him utilize the kind of mech thing to then rip out and take out the command structure. That's a really kind of cool echo. As we see him flying off with Hercules, it's like, damn! So we'll have to see how that kind of works out. Then we see Stan Lee presents the mighty Thor, the power and the pride. As we pretty much see that Hercules is planning a party with Jarvis. Pretty much that, yeah. He wants to do a feast. It's like having unusual ingredients. They're trying to find Mycenaean wine in Manhattan, and they're like, okay. It's like, oh, you could go to despair and stuff, but then he gets hit by a frisbee, and like these women are like, oh shit, it's Hercules! As they're falling over him, Jarvis is just sitting there. It's like, oh, I thought Master Star Fox was a trial. It's like, good on you. We then shift over and see, meanwhile, not far away, that this kid is pretty much drawing pictures of Thor, and this one dude pretty much just comes up with his friends and begins being an asshole to him. Ask him what he's drawing. It's like, oh, boo-hoo. It's like, why don't you draw real superheroes like Torch or Spider-Man? Not good enough for you. It's like, do you know stuff about Thor? And he's just ripping them up and just being a general asshole to him. And of course he's saying that Thor's like 100 times better than their stupid heroes, and then they want him to prove it. I don't have anything to prove to you, Tony. Sure you do, kid. That is if you don't want your little picture book to end up in tomorrow's trash. And then, of course, they see Jarvis and Hercules and are going down to pretty much ask who's stronger. And, of course, they pretty much have the kid do it. And we see Hercules pretty much talking up all of his labors, which is cool. Always have to tie in the labors like that. But it's like, okay, that's old stuff. How about you and Thor? Ah, an epic battle. And then he pretty much just goes into this, like, random thing. Pretty much tried to bring in Jarvis into the story, but Jarvis is like, I don't recall any of this shit. And Hercules is like, okay, gotta fix this. So he went out and pretty much beats Thor at arm wrestling, and we all know that Hercules is just bullshitting this at this point, because Thor had been like, I'm gonna fucking kick your ass. Why do you keep besting me? But why must it be me? And then this, of course, then he bonks Hercules with his hammer, and then Hercules, like, smashes him through a wall. Though granted, that's kind of how old Hercules would kind of react, as he's like doing untold mayhem to pretty much get back at Thor. Thor at first getting like this lamppost and trying to smack him, but then him grabbing it and then smacking Thor. And then Jarvis is like, this makes no sense that Thor would act this way. He's like, And of course, he thinks Matthew is an admirer of Hercules, as they're like ripping through cars, ripping up concrete and shit, taking down buses and everything. And of course, this is disturbing Matthew more and more. It's like, he's like, would I lie? And he's like getting ready to rip up more of all this stuff. Them going through like the Empire State Building, destroying all kinds of stuff. And they're like, we would have heard about this shit, Hercules. We haven't heard any about this. Him helping an old lady randomly who then smacks Thor on the head. And then, of course, they're like talking about Thor just standing around, and the other kids are like, wouldn't you just bash his brains in? As he keeps like going further and further, eventually lifting up the island of Manhattan. It's like his exaggerations are just kind of insane. Jarvis like, the ending leaves one a bit incredulous, sir. But of course keeps going on about like taking down Thor being doomed before Jarvis starts putting everything together with Matthew and everything kind of getting ripped up. Before they get interrupted by the Frisbee chicks again. It's like, okay. But of course, Jarvis is able to get Hercules on the side, and then he's able to reconfigure the story at the end that Thor was just playing with him and pretending to be weak and everything before, like, hitting Hercules into New Jersey. It's like, oh shit. And then, of course, the Tony dude gives the stuff back to Matthew. And then Hercules is like, ho there, young fellow. I would not speak to a friend of Hercules in such a manner, for I cannot abide a bully, if you can understand my meaning. I understand. Come on, guys, let's move it. And now, young Matthew, how would you like to dine with the mighty Avengers for dinner this eve? Me? Wow, can my mom come too? Of course. Now let us be off, for I have many tales to tell of my noble friend Thor, the mightiest mortal of them all. Let us not forget the might sea and wine, sir. Of course. Friend Jarvis, where would I be without you? I shudder to think, sir. Yeah, very true there, Jarvis. And then, of course, we get a nice little letter, and then showing us Immortal Thor issue 15 and Thor vs. Hercules trade paperback. So, I really enjoyed this. I liked that we got 2 stories in here. The Hercules one is just kind of insane at the end, where he's just bullshitting, but it's one of those interesting ones that they kind of had back then, where you would have just this kind of one-off story. Even though Thor is in it, he's not really one that takes precedence in it. But the main story of Giant-Sized Thor, showing Thor and Hercules and dealing with these assholes that captured him to use his all-power, with understanding the consequences and the prices that must be paid for use of that power. And Hercules helping him, and them just kind of like busting through. This was just a good old-fashioned kind of story that I think would have been perfectly fine in the main series as well. But I'm glad that I was able to get it and look at it and understand just seeing another kind of great one of Hercules and Thor having their friendship together and what they had to do in this kind of crazy-ass situation of Thor being captured, then and being used as a power source for a giant Thor mech, but then taking out the bad guys and stopping them from what they were doing. It's like, I like that. It's just cool to kind of see the different kind of art style, and it's really kind of cool to see them emulate the style from those comics that I still have, and then the new kind of style, which kind of gave me reminiscent kind of vibes from the Beta Ray Bill miniseries that they did in a good way. It's like, all right. And I like that they did different kind of panelings and how they kind of transition throughout. So this isn't one that you need to get, but the best kind of thing for this is it's a value add. It gives you a little bit more context of, oh, okay, Thor was in trouble, and Hercules helped him out, and that's why we got him kind of popping up and doing this stuff in the Immortal Thor. So, yeah, it's definitely more of a value add. You aren't missing anything out if you're like, I don't want to spend $6.99 on this. That I totally get. It was worth it for me because you get pretty much 2 comics for 1 in this. And if you aren't used to the kind of older comics, it's a kind of treat to see how they were kind of done and see the art styles and see Hercules be Hercules. So, those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.